Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever and whenever you are. My name is Benjamin, and welcome to another GameMaker tutorial. This one is 2 days late, and it's because what I was trying to do was really difficult. So, disclaimer, this is working, but it's not perfect yet. Maybe you guys will have some ideas of how you can perfect it. I'm going to show you how you can do it, but just know that this is not perfect, and there's still a lot that could be learned or improved on in this tutorial video. So first thing, I've got a 32 by 32 crate sprite that just looks like this. Nothing too fancy. You can do this however you want. I'll probably provide the sprite in the description just so that you guys can get access to that easily. So yeah, you just need this crate sprite like this, and I'll have a link to that in the description. So now what we're going to do, we want to add in a 3-dimensional crate. And because a lot of you have asked how to do like walls and buildings, and because of the way that I've done this, doing walls is a little bit tricky. I'll show you why, and I'll show you that it kind of works with this, but that it doesn't actually work. So I'll explain that. Let's create a new object, and we're going to call this object crate. And we're going to give this object a create event. And we're going to drag over a code action. We're going to initialize the crate. And inside of this code action, we're going to write some code. Surprise, surprise. And it's going to be top x equals 0. Actually, I think it's x. Top y equals y. So we have to be able to keep track of where the top of our crate is. And that's what we're doing here, because it's not going to be in the exact position of the crate. So I've done that. Now we're going to create a new script. And I've got an example script here, because this is kind of a long one. So let's create our new script. We're going to name this script draw wall. 3 script draw wall. Now we're going to pass in the side, which is going to be just a string that contains either top, left, down, or let's see, top, right, left, or bottom. And we're going to pass in a color as well. And I'll show you why we're going to do that. So that's what that's going to look like. So var side equals argument 0 var. Oh, we need to get the width and the height of our sprite, and I'm doing this so that we can scale the sprite, and this will still work. So var width equals sprite offset x offset, and we're going to use this x offset and the y offset because that's the distance from the center of our sprite to the edge of the sprite, no matter how large or small the sprite is. So it's actually half the width and half the height, but we're not going to worry about that. Now we're going to set the color, draw set color to argument 1. So we're going to draw whatever color we pass in. We're going to get a texture, var text. Oh, yeah, so not only will you have to create this sprite right here, sprite crate, but you'll also want to create a background called bk crate, because we're going to be using this, and I'll show you why in a minute here. So var text equals background get texture, and it's going to be bk crate like this. Sweet. Now that you have that, now is the complicated part. So we're going to do a switch statement, or we're going to switch on the side. So depending on which side, we're going to have obviously 4 cases. Case right, break, case, left, break, case, I think I did top first, top, break, and I probably hit 2, case, bottom, break. And I'm going to put a return after each of these breaks just to make it more readable. But yeah, that is how I did it. So now you're going to learn about a new thing that you've probably never seen before, but that's actually really quite cool. And it's called draw primitive begin texture. And that's a huge long draw primitive begin texture. And we want to do, there are different primitive types. There's PR, triangle, let's see, oh, it's because triangle, and we want to do strip. There might be a better one for this situation, but this is just how I did it. And we're going to pass in the texture that we got from the background right up there. Okay, and right after that, we're going to end it. We're going to do draw primitive end. Now let's look at what these do. So I'm going to middle click or control click. No, it's not control click. Shift click? I don't know. Middle clicking the mouse button on that will open up the help file. You can see draw primitive begin texture, and we can set a texture, we can start drawing, and then we pass in vertexes. Vertices? Yeah, that's probably right. Vertices, and we give it an X and a Y, and then we give it, I'm trying to remember exactly how to explain this. Let's look it up. Draw, vertex, texture. You pass it an X texture and a Y texture. It's kind of like what portion of the texture to use, and we'll define what portions of the texture to use. That's probably the best way of explaining it. There's one other thing we want to look up. We want to look up the PR triangle fan, so you guys can, or strip, so you guys can see primitive begin. So here we go. In the help file, we've got this is a PR point list, a PR line list, a PR line strip. This would be a good one for maybe a rope. PR triangle list, PR triangle strip. This is the one we're using because you can see it's good for diamond type shapes, which is our box is going to create those shapes as it alters the perspective. And we have triangle fan. Or did I use triangle fan? I don't remember. I used triangle strip, this one right here. So you can see these are the vertices. We've got vertice 1, 2, 3, and we got 1, 2, 3. You can see that it just draws these triangles. This one connects them, and this one connects them as well. So depending on where you draw the vertices, it will draw different shapes. So you can use this to create almost any shape, just like 3D games are made up of a bunch of polygons. Now what we're going to do is we're going to actually pass in the points for the right side of our box. And this gets just crazy. I had to just mess around with these values. I thought it through a little bit, but it's hard to just visualize this because these points are so weird. So I guess what I'm saying is if you don't understand why I put in these points, that's okay. If you want to learn more about it, I would suggest just messing around with drawing primitives this way until you get it to kind of work how you want it to. So we're going to do draw vertex texture. We're going to pass in our top X. You remember we created the top X. And we're going to do plus width. Then we're going to do top Y minus height. Then we're going to do 0 and 0 for the start of where we want our texture to draw from. Draw vertex texture. We're going to do X plus width, Y minus height, 1, 0. Draw vertex texture, x plus width, y plus height, 1 and 1, draw vertex texture, and we're going to do top x plus width, top y plus height. We're going to do 0 and 1. And then we're going to grab the top one we did, and we're just going to copy that same vertex back to the bottom so it goes full circle all the way back to the very first vertex. Now the good news is we can just copy this entire section right here, put it down in our left section right here, and instead of having plus width, plus width, plus width, plus width, plus width, right there, we can just change these to subtraction. Subtract, 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 subtract. Make sure that you only change that for the x values right here. Top x, 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 top x, and top x. Now we're going to do our top case. So copy, you can just copy what we had before, but I'd probably, if I were you, let's see. It looks like the texture order for these are the same. So we just need to change this. This is going to be top x for our top case. It's going to be top x minus width, top y minus height. Y minus height, y minus height, top y minus height, top y minus height. So we've got top width, or top x minus width. Then we should have another one here. Top width plus width. Top, or let's see, x plus width. X minus width. These are going to be confusing. People are going to mess this up. I just know it. I'm probably going to mess this up. I'm trying to be really careful. The last one is going to be just like the top one up here. So it's top x minus width. So you may have to pause the video and just go through these to make sure you get them all exactly how I have them, because it's going to mess it up if you don't. Now we're going to copy the top case down to the bottom case, and we're going to change all the y's to plus instead of subtract. But everything else should be the same. Okay. We've created our script draw wall, and that is done. So let's press our green check mark, save our game, because that's a lot of stuff to do. Now what we have to do is we have to actually draw the wall, and this is kind of complicated as well, so bear with me. First thing we're going to do though is we're going to open up our tree base and come into the draw event. No. The tree leaves. Come into the draw event. We're going to copy some of this because we're going to be using this same code. So in object tree leaves, inside of the draw event, we're going to copy down to here. So above the draw the shadow, we're going to copy this. Control C. And we're going to come into our object create draw event, which seems to have disappeared. Create a draw event there, drag over some code. We're going to be draw the crate. So we've got some of the information we need already. This right here is going to work exactly the same. This is going to be different. Instead of having offset right here, because our crate doesn't have an offset, just set this to 96. Because that seemed to work pretty well for me. If you do this lower, the box will be taller. If you do it higher, the box will be shorter. The maximum height, or the shortest it could be, would be 112. Then it would be perfectly flat. Might as well not have 3D. But 96 works really well. Now what we need to do is we need to update the top x and top y. So top underscore x is going to equal x plus x distance. Top underscore y is going to equal y plus y distance. This is just calculating where the top x and top y position are going to be, which is the top of our box, because it's going to have two layers, a bottom that's on the ground, a top that moves with the view. So we're just determining where that top X and Y position is going to be. After we do that, we need to draw the actual sprite. So draw the crate. This is just the bottom of the crate, the one that's on the ground. Draw self. Now we're going to draw the shadow. Draw the shadow. So I actually also, really quick, I need to show you. I made a shadow sprite, and I'll put this in the description as well along with the crate sprite, because this is the easiest way to get a nice looking shadow on the boxes. So this is pretty easy. Draw the shadow. Just gonna do draw sprite ext sprite crate shadow image index x y image x scale image y scale image angle C black, and for the alpha I think I did 0.4. No, 0.3. So 0.3 for the final argument, which is our alpha value. Now that we've drawn the shadow, it's time to actually draw the walls. And this, because this is the part that's still kind of questionable. Because of the fact that walls, because they don't, you need to do the layering different for the walls depending on this perspective shift. If you just draw each wall, like if we were to just do, let's do this. Draw the walls, or sides, I guess, sides. Script, draw, wall, top, C white. If you were to just draw each wall like this, I'll just show you what this does, and then we can fix it so you can see why you can't just do it this way. Because you're going to be like, well, why can't we just do it this way? So we need to draw the lid as well. Draw the lid, which is the final wall. Draw sprite ext sprite index 0 top x top y. This is the lid, so it's going to be following the perspective. Image x scale, image y scale, 0 C white, and 1 for the alpha. Okay, and we're drawing, let's do right. Oops, let's do left there. Left, top, and bottom. There we go. So we're drawing each of the walls. Great. We actually want the bottom and the right one to do sea gray, because that will help with our shadows, make it look more realistic. That's why we passed in the color. Now, now that we've done that, let's put a crate inside of our room. Let's open up room 1. And you can see I removed all of the enemies from the room as well, just because they were kind of annoying me while I was trying to add in the crates. So let's add in our crate object. Oh, we need to assign the sprite to it first, though. There we go, looking good. Did I do something with the depth? I set the depth of the crate, but I don't remember what I set it to. What's the depth of my trees? I think you can set the depth of the crate to -50. That should work. Okay, let's put a few crates in here. It's quite a few. Let's run our game. And you'll see why we can't just draw all of the sides. I wish we could. That would be so much cleaner. But we can't. So let's start the game. And I knew that I would have an error. So that's fine. Draw vertex texture top width plus width. This is inside of the draw event, which is just running the script draw wall. At line 32 of script draw wall. So let's abort. We'll open up our script draw wall. Where's line 32? Line 32 is right here. We've got top W instead of top X. And my guess is it's going to be all the way on every... Oh, I guess it's only these last two. Yeah, it was only those two, I think. Let's run the game again. This has a really cool effect. It's just super complicated. Okay, there we go. You can see we're drawing the crates. It looks like our top might not be working correctly, which is probably going to happen. Top and bottom are working a little funny. You can see it does create that cool effect. In order to see what's going on a little bit better, I'm going to come into the draw event and I'm going to change this from 96 to 48, which is going to be just a crazy, crazy tall crate. And it's going to look weird, but it's going to help me to see what's going on. So yeah, the top isn't quite working right. It looks like the sides aren't working right, but they actually are. The problem is, remember how I said that that we can't just draw them all? That's because look, the bottom one is drawing on top of this side one when it shouldn't be. So I'll show you guys how we can fix that, but it is complicated. So it looks like I reversed the top and bottom by mistake. So let's come back into our script, and you guys are probably going to have issues as well, just because it's a really tedious type script. So I'm going to double check with my reference script here, and left and right work, but top and bottom don't. So let's see, I've got minus width, plus width, plus width, minus width, minus width. That looks good to me. Sprite Y offset, sprite X offset for the width, sprite. Okay. Are the right and left one wrong and it just makes the other ones look right? Top plus width plus width. Oh yeah, that wouldn't be different. Let's come back to the top and bottom again. Triangle strip, texture. Okay, so we've got 0, 0. Ah, this should be top Y right here. Top Y. And this one should be Y right here. There we go. That was it. Yeah. The second one should be top Y. And the fourth one should just be a normal Y. So on top and bottom, it's just top, 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 X, Y, X, Y, top, top. Let's run that. And you will see. There we go. It's working now. So the only problem with the crate now is that it's not drawing, like here you can see it's drawing the top side. The depth of the top side is going on this. So I'll show you how to fix this. Come into the draw event, and this is ugly code, but I couldn't think of a better way to do this. So if you can come up with a better way to do this, I would love to hear it. I'd spent quite a bit of time just figuring out how to do this in general, messing around with it, trying to perfect it. But like I said, it's not perfect. So here's what we can do. We can check to see what the perspective is of the box and then decide how to draw our walls depending on that perspective. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do an if statement. If top is less than if top underscore x is less than x. So basically, if our box is if the top part of the box is less than the bottom, so if it's the perspective, it would be on the left side of the screen. It might be mirrored for you guys, but if that's the case, then we want to draw the left one first and the right one second. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to do an else here. Because this one we want to draw the right one first and the left one second. Yeah. And I'm just going to reverse these. So this is left and this is right. So we've got if top x is less than x, draw the left one first and then the right one. Else, draw the right one first and then the left one. Well, in between these, we have to do another check, which is if top y is less than y, we're going to draw our top and bottom ones here. I'm going to press Control X and copy this up. So in between the left and the right one and our top one, we're going to draw the bottom one first and then the top one. Else, we're going to draw the top one first and then the bottom one. So we've got left and then our check right here, bottom, top, top, bottom, and then right. And we're going to copy this check right here down in between our else case right here, where we're going to do the same thing. It's going to be exactly the same. Now, if you need to pause your screen and copy this over, that's fine. That's kind of an ugly way to do this, but it works. So I stuck with it. I messed around with other options too, like having each side be a separate object and controlling the depth that way. And I didn't really find anything that worked. I'm sure that that's a good alternate route to take as well. So now when we start the game, you can see, although it's drawing the darker color on the left and on the right, so it makes my shadows look not quite as good. Let's come in. So we've got left is C white, left. It should be, oh, here we go. Yeah, I forgot to change these. So when it's on the bottom, we want it to draw gray. And when it's on the right, we want it to draw gray. But on the left, we want it to draw C white. C white. Bottom gray. Top C white. Bottom gray. There we go. Now it should always be drawing with a white color on the top and a gray color on the bottom. And that will give us the correct shading for our boxes. And you can see they work really, really well. And I'm going to go change I'm going to change this back to 96 from 48. And I'm going to show you guys, I designed this code so that you can stretch the boxes. Well, first, let's add a new collision event with the player. Go into the object player, add event, collision with the crate. And we need to completely fix the way this game handles movement. I just threw something in it first because it was more about showing off the 3D effect than it was about programming movement. So for now, I'm just going to do this. Move, bounce, solid, false. Okay. And I'm going to make the crate solid. And then our object spell parent, I'm going to add an event, collision with this crate, and just have it destroy itself. Looks good. Now, this is part of the benefit of the way I set up this code. I can take this box, oops, didn't mean to do that. I can take this box, I can stretch it down like this. And if I run the game, you'll see that this will create like a wall. But I'll show you why it doesn't quite work right. And why you can probably only leave these in as crates and not actually create walls with them. So yeah, I set it up to where it should work like it draws everything correctly with the wall. Even the shadow looks good. But because this is a fake perspective, it's not a real perspective. The top box is technically the exact same size as the bottom box, and that's not how real perspective works. And I'll show you why that's a bad thing. Let's put another crate right here. I'm going to stretch this one out this way. Whoa, come on. There we go. Now, it's not going to layer them super well. Partially because of depth issues, where it's drawing this crate on top of the other one. But also you'll see we can, even though there is a depth issue, we shouldn't be able to see this side of this box right here underneath this box. Basically, the edges will touch at the bottom, but they won't touch at the top, and it's because we have a fake perspective. So you might be able to fake it. You might be able to find a way to fake a wall by doing the same thing that I've done with an entire building or your entire wall system, but you won't be able to build a wall from crates. Because remember that this isn't real 3D. This is just fake. We're imitating the 3D, but it's not actually real. So anyways, there you go. Hopefully you found this video at least interesting, to say the least, whether or not you want to have the crates in your game like the way that I have them set up. That doesn't really matter, but you might have learned something in regards to drawing primitives and how you can do that. There's a lot that you can do there. So, but thanks for watching. Be sure and like, give me a favorite, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. That'd be awesome. Also, you guys do such a great job of sharing my video on Twitter. Whenever I release a new video, I always get a bunch of shares on Twitter, and I really appreciate that because Twitter's awesome, and I can see when you share it on Twitter, so it shows me your name that you shared it, and I really appreciate that. So thank you guys for watching, and I will talk to you guys later. Plus, oh, real quick, I will be doing there will be multiple videos released. Since this one was late, I'll probably release another one tomorrow and then another one Friday, so you'll get 3 videos in a row, so watch out for those. But yep, I will talk to you guys later.